All right. So, who am I here with today?
Yeah, I'm Eric Dorsch.
Cool. What do you do?
So I build fences, decks, bridges, pergolas,
Nice.
any outdoor carpentry
Yeah.
that's needed.
So my first question is, how long have you been doing architecture, or just like, I guess, these kind of things in general?
About 5 years, full time. Before that, it was just kind of hobby. Um, and yeah, for 5 years, I've had this business and doing it full time.
Nice. What challenges have you faced during the way?
Yeah, kind of twofold. Just starting a new business and then building.
Nice.
So just um, kind of learning best methods, and that's just studying, and then also leaning into people that know more than you.
Sure.
So people who have been doing this for a long time, just asking for advice. So I've had a few of those people over the past 5 years, and then just a lot of kind of trial and error on my own house,
Sure.
and before I kind of tackle it out in the real world.
Sure. What is the biggest project you've worked on?
Yeah, the biggest project was um, a fence, so 500 feet, 4 gates, dog run. Um, yeah, that's the biggest so far. So just residential.
Okay.
Yeah, for now.
Um, what are the main engineering challenges in making bridges, would you say?
Yeah, just making sure that it's going to be strong enough for people, in my case, to walk on. So making sure the material that you use for the joists, and the spans that you're using are going to be good, and supportive enough for people to walk on it every single day. Um, and it just depends on what material you're using, and all the information is really easy to find. Just you can type in what your joist spacing is,
Mm.
what type of lumber,
Yeah.
um, and then it'll tell you basically the maximum span that you can have this to make it, you know, strong and good over time. So basically, yeah, just making sure that, because it is a safety thing, and
Sure.
you don't want people, yeah.
So this one probably is pretty answerable for you, but what is like, were you ever assigned a bridge project by yourself?
Um, no, so just usually just customers that I've had,
Sure.
and they're like, "Well, we have this kind of special project. Would you be open to it? It's unique." So I usually jump at those.
Sure.
Yeah.
Do you do it all yourself too?
No. So I do have two other 1099 guys who help me.
Okay.
Some days I'm alone. Most days though, I at least have one other person with me.
Sure.
Yeah.
I guess so. This question is more personal, but like, tell us about you.
Yeah. So I went to college to become a high school history teacher.
Hmm.
um, I went through student teaching and didn't really feel like I wanted to go that route. I got into sales. I was an account executive, so just behind a desk for a while in the endurance industry, so like
Sure.
running events, any mass participation. And then I was furloughed like in June of 2020, so shortly after COVID, and I just started doing this full time. I never really thought I could. Before, it was just kind of on the side.
Yeah.
But I was like, well, I just want to keep busy. Um, so really, the first day of my furlough, I had a fence job lined up,
That's cool.
and just kind of grew from there. I have a history in service, and I was a capable builder, but just kind of putting those two together. And since then, it's been fun. I get to work in the community, which I really like, and build things outside.
Yeah.
So it's been good.
Um, what motivates you to do this kind of stuff?
The people. I love working, yeah, with people and finishing a project. Mine are pretty quick, so it's not like years in the making. There's a lot of gratification that goes along with that, and building something, and then years down the road, like, hey, I built that, and it looks good.
Yeah.
um, So just having that, and it kind of ties into the community. I'm in this area a lot, so I get to see my work a lot. So I definitely enjoy that.
What were / are your goals in your career field?
Yeah, that's a good question. For now, just building the business, finding 2 or 3 solid people to kind of take it, and me kind of taking a back seat, doing more of the estimating, getting into other unique projects, maybe commercial projects. But first is just like finding people that you can trust who are good with people, and also they can build nice things and correctly, and they care about what they're doing. So that's really the goal. Anything beyond that, I've thought about going back to school for some type of architecture degree, just to kind of have that, because I don't right now. But I feel like with the hands-on experience that I've had, and kind of coupled with the coursework, it would be, I think, a good thing to do.
Sure. So obviously you said you don't have an architectural degree, but like, what made you, out of anything you could do, kind of pick like bridges or fences and stuff to work on?
Yeah, I just saw that there's a need for it. And I've done this work in the past, but just kind of on the side, and I never really thought I could actually make a living doing it. Until I was kind of forced to, in a way.
Sure.
But yeah, just what drew me to was just the building, something that I knew how to do, and I felt that there's a need for it in the community.
Sure. What company are you currently working for, or do you have your own company?
So it's my company. We're called Fencing Outfitters. That's just a LLC. Yeah.
Cool. How do you plan for your projects?
Yeah, so planning, basically the first step is meeting the customer, usually where the project is going to happen, kind of explaining or seeing what needs to be done, explaining the options as far as materials, kind of what I typically use, but also explore other options with them. And then from there, just send an estimate out if they accept. Start kind of just making drawings of the materials that I need, just so I don't have a lot of waste on the job site. So actually, just making drawings, a notepad, and writing a materials list, getting those ordered and delivered on the job site, basically the day that we start. That's really it. And then just communicating with the customer, just kind of touching base, kind of where you're at, any obstacles that you've run into that might delay the project, and so forth.
Yeah. What is the hardest part in designing a bridge, would you say?
Yeah, just each bridge is a little bit different. So kind of working with what you have, like this one right here, there's a bunch of water. And then there's a problem with this. The bridge was just kind of sunken in the water, so we do have to lift it a little bit. And then you can see in the middle there's a post that was kind of the center point. We're going to reconfigure that and do 2 of them and go much deeper, so like 3 feet in the ground, like 10-inch diameter, and then with a support beam in the middle, and the joist will rest on top of that. And then it will be elevated. Before it was just kind of sunken in the water, and that just kind of deteriorates wood quicker.
And so it doesn't support as much, right? Because you kind of just keep digging it in there.
And that support that they have now, like I just kind of poked around in there a little bit. It just seems really on the surface. With any footing around here, if you want it to not sink or have a better chance of it not sinking, you have to just go deeper, about 3 feet in the ground, to make it strong,
Sure.
so it doesn't move up and down. If it does, it's going to affect everything else on the bridge, on either ends.
Yeah.
So yeah, just basically to answer your question, each area is a little bit different. Some don't have any water, and you can see the angle too that it goes down.
Yeah.
And then also making it, compliant to accessibility or accessible for all people. So making sure you have the correct ramp or angle leading up to the bridge, so anyone could go across it.
Sure.
So stuff like that. So just basically where it is, every place is a little bit different, and just kind of working with what you have.
What would you say takes the longest when designing a bridge like that?
Just making sure the materials are correct. Making sure the distances, the spans are all solid, and then making sure that you have everything ordered correctly, so you're not having to kind of waste time going back and forth to your supplier getting the right stuff. Just making sure you have everything that you have or need at the job site.
What type of bridge is the most fun for you to build?
Well, so far I've just built pedestrian bridges.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're fun. They're anywhere from 14 to 18 feet long. There's a need for them, but that's really what I've done so far. Yeah.
I guess other questions. What is the hardest part in starting to run a business?
Yeah. Prior to this, I never really thought I was going to be a business owner. I'm good with people, but that doesn't mean you're going to have a good business.
Yeah.
That you can build good things and people will like you, and most of your business will come from referrals, which is great. But there's also another side of the business that I'm still learning. How to grow, how to scale, when to, maybe when not to.
Yeah.
All that stuff. Like I said, it's still, I think it's a lifelong endeavor of trying to, do good, do good business, do good work, and make it run efficiently. So
Sure.
Still learning, but I feel like we have a good thing right now. Small but good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did you find your guys that you have right now?
Yeah. Kind of just I've never reached out. The first guy, he's been with me for 3 years, 3+ years, but I was working on a job and he was hired to do another job at this person's house, and he was just interested in what I was doing. Gave me his card. I didn't reach out to him for a long time, but I did eventually, and I'm glad I did. He just lives in my neighborhood.
Nice.
So it's easy to reach him. We work really well together. He's a smart guy and a good builder, good with people. And then the other guy also lives in my neighborhood. I usually have old lumber that I give away.
Yeah.
So he came for that, and then he's also an old builder guy. So I saw his work, and I liked it, like him. He's been with us for about 1.5 years, and then in the summer I do have a college kid who comes back.
Oh, very cool.
And his dad is actually the shop teacher at Chatfield High School.
Oh, that's cool. Nice.
So his son worked last summer with us, just learning. So that was fun. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
What is the hardest part when transporting materials and stuff, or how do you go about doing that?
Yeah, most of this stuff is delivered. So depending on the supplier, basically just a truck.
Yeah.
And it's very inexpensive, and there's really no limit to the amount for the same price.
Sure.
So it's pretty awesome. Before I would go and get it from the yard and have to wait forever, and then load it and then bring it to the job site. And now it's just it's a no-brainer.
It's just there for you.
Yeah, and that's the way it needs to happen. I
Yeah.
mean, before it was just too laborious, too tiring. Like you'd be tired before you even started the actual
Yeah.
project. Um, but yeah, that's the way. That's most of the time. Something like this, I kind of just wait because once I tear it down, I kind of discover some things that I
Yeah.
might need to get extra.
Sure.
Um, and there's really not much material here.
Hmm.
So I will go and get the material needed for this in the next 2 days.
Nice.
And just deliver it myself, but it's not too much.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's easy.
How did you go about getting your tools and kind of getting started?
Yeah, just slowly. I mean, I had tools before I started.
Yeah.
But looking back, I didn't really have all the correct ones, so it just made everything more difficult.
Sure.
Like you could still get it done, just like thinking about the Egyptians building pyramids, with nothing that we have today.
Yeah.
Like they could get it done, but it was a lot harder.
Yeah.
That was kind of like when I started. Obviously, not to that extent, but similar. Just not having the correct tools, but having enough just to make sure you can complete the project well. But since then, I've invested in more tools, hydraulic diggers, so I can dig a hole in a minute.
Yeah.
And other useful tools, jackhammers, trailers. So just stuff like that. It's nothing major, but
Sure.
it goes a long way, and it helps to save your body as well.
Yeah.
Just but that stuff I didn't just buy
Hmm.
right away. I kind of like to see what I actually really need, and then once there's a real need, then I'll purchase it.
Sure. Do you hope to expand your business one day, or do you like that it's more you have your certain guys and that you guys can just go group and group and get projects done for people?
Yeah, that's also a good question. I think eventually I'd like to expand because I will need to, because as I get older, um, you kind of slow down a little
Yeah.
bit, and you need to still make money. So you have to figure out how you're going to do that, how the business is going to go on, without you there most of the time. So that's a challenge. But I do like it now, but I recognize that it does need to, in order for it to grow, I'll need to hire more people,
Yeah.
expand that way, bring on more people, train people, just to kind of carry on, what we started.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I think that's all the questions I have for you. So
Cool.
thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.